Hello, sir. Welcome to today's episode of I Do What I Do When I Do What I Do. That's what I currently do, is playing around with some ideas. This is not a finished model by any means. This could be a project I maybe never gonna finish. Sometimes it's just fun starting things, right? You know, like you could answer. And well, what happens is when I feel like playing Bioshock, I always think like I should maybe do something cool as an overlay, which I already have done. There is a Bioshock overlay I can actually show you. Not this one. Yeah, this one. This one I actually made for Bioshock, but I thought, hey, what if I would have like a little character in the corners who would maybe have my logo, and then the helmet is gonna put on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I thought I'm gonna show you the in-between scenes. So right now what I've done so far is first I was thinking, how do I approach the system? I always work from left to right. So everything on the left is just a backup. So usually what I do when I have an idea, so I started with this one here. And then, I said, okay, let's try that. And I always make backups. I duplicate those guys and put them to the left. And so I started with the shape, and then I decided not going with the with a sphere. Instead of that, actually, I used a cube. So actually, there's a step missing here. That's why I'm gonna add them. And I used subdivision once. And then that's, then I worked with this guy. Then I did subdivision again, applied subdivision for the Blender guys, and then worked on the eyes with by inserting keyframes. While I try to do a Bioshock-like guy, it doesn't have to be 100%, it can be a little bit different. I don't really need to nail that. It's not a copy, it's, it's an homage. If you want. I hope the word means what it means. I don't speak French, and I will not learn French, that's for sure. And then this guy, and that guy, and then it looks more like a potato, and I had to round that guy again. This is for the Blender people, so I used a sphere again as a template for the overall object to make it round again, and then experimented with some other shapes and so on. What I figured out is actually looking at the character is actually the Big Daddy. I checked out some other artwork and so on. Basically, I just wanted to look at the Big Daddy in 3D. And what I've noticed is that he has a weird posture. He looks kind of like the head is looking kind of like that. And the character here is not finished. This guy is not even a model yet. It's just this is how I usually start with before I do sculpting, which sculpting I may not even need to do for my little animation. But I need a character so that I can work on the helmet and adjust the helmet and suit around the character shape, which is actually more important than the character itself. Anyway, so I did that, and I may do this thing again, because the problem with this helmet is that it needs to open maybe from the sides, and so I need a little bit more space in between maybe, so I'm gonna adjust that if I want to be particular. Then I already have some test material / texture. I used here some of my, I have a bunch of textures here to choose from, all made by myself. Everything you see is made from scratch, just in case you wonder. I like to do my own things. If this ever changes, I will let you know. There's nothing bad about this, but so far I didn't need to do that. But I have an interesting material, which is this one. This only works in a certain wrong. So this is what I am gonna use in the end. Different color though, because it uses, you see the edges, those sharp edges here. It's a material where it looks a little bit more like metal, I would say. It's not perfect. Again, this is like I tweaked my way, or maybe a combination with this material and the bevel stuff. I mean the sharp edges. So like metal is usually on the edges. It goes off on the edges a bit, right? And that's what I try to make with the material. Since I'm an all-rounder, none of those things are perfect, but you know, this one is pretty okay, I would say. And the problem is only that I have to, if I want to change the render engine, you see that it looks completely different in here. So I would only apply use that when this character is done, and then bake this texture onto the bake the material as a texture. Anyway, this is only for the Blender, guys. So this is the one thing. Then I also have here, like, I made this one here, which is actually more. This is not so easy to make, this guy. The drill is not easy at all. So I had to look up some other works, and I couldn't really find something. So I sat down. Actually, I think I screwed around with some. Let me just reset that for a second. So I looked up some ideas, and there are many ways in Blender how to approach things. But eventually I sat down and figured out my own idea, and then I made a video tutorial for that, which I still have to upload for Project Lara, because the way I approach is a little bit different and works for me. And this is just another way of doing things. And now I have this guy here. The hands are sticking out here a bit, because the hands right now for the character do not really matter so much, because this is just the skin guy. So meaning there's not, I don't, you know, they're gonna be replaced with my other hands. I made hands for a female model actually once, and I just pumped them a bit. That's, you know, you can see this is more female, although I would need, it's not, this is not so bony here. This is just, I think I had to emphasize that to maybe squeeze that down or something. Yeah, something like that. And it actually had fingernails, but here I want to change the version a little bit. So those hands will be replaced. And the good thing about this character, I only need one hand anyways. The other hand is being hidden, being used for the drill. Yeah, I can show you maybe quickly. It's also good practice for me to remember how I did this actually. Let me just see if this works, if I can do it like I did in my tutorial. The tutorial already is made, if I made a thumbnail, but I have to watch it once completely before I publish, to make sure that I'm not confusing beginners at the end. I always do that for tutorials, but I don't feel like watching it right now, so it's not published yet. It's uploaded already, but not published yet. Yeah, so I'm gonna do this one here, edges, and that's. I'm just gonna show you the thing is also, it's good to do tutorials, because I'm not focused right now. Because what am I doing here? Oh, come on, man, Lucas, what are you doing? I just can't. What did I do here? Because I will forget. So this is just a brain fart right now. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Let's just do it like that, whatever. The reason is maybe we just ate curry and it was delicious, and I'm just full with food. Anyway, so I did that. Yeah, because I will forget how I did this in the future. So it's good to make tutorials anyways. Yeah, and this one here. That's gonna be the shape, and this one. Yeah, approximately I'm using round numbers, but it doesn't. This will determine, depending where the position is, the thickness of the whole guy. So what was the other thing? Oh yeah, I've already started to forget those steps here, I realized. It is an array modifier and merge, yeah, and the next one would be simple deform 360 degree, and then duplicating this guy here again. Next thing would be screw. Yeah, for sure. Now that I do this, it's only, I think it's 2 days ago when I started that, and I already start forgetting things. That's why I have a folder which tells I have a folder how to do things, and I make sometimes video tutorials just for myself. Not every tutorial is for people, sometimes just for myself to remember it in the future. So alternatively, you can do some documentations for people who like writing. Anyway, so this guy here. What else? This one has to be merged 2 and 5. Here we go. And then, yeah, that's basically it. Now I can convert it to a mesh. By distance, merge some things. This one, we're almost done. It doesn't take so long anymore. At least a simple version. Like so. And then, so this is the beginning of the guy. And now let's do the end. So I was counting 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, approximately. That's well good. 7, and now like so. How does this look? Kind of okay. Now I'm gonna do, oh, maybe actually I realized that now to make this thing maybe sharper, maybe it's really better to reach almost the edge. I think I just realized this now. This could maybe this is good, or maybe this is bad. We'll see. We'll see. It's a little bit different, but they should always match. That's okay. Let's try this one here. Almost. Maybe this one. No, maybe one more. This one. Yeah, that's gonna be good. And this is the beginning. I'm gonna cut this off a bit, like so. Extrude along the normals, minus 0.5. And now I have this. And I'm gonna close the gap here. Here's a hole now. Fill a grid. Here we go. I'll leave that as it is. And now simply, I see something is off here. I made a mistake. I forgot to merge. Something, I made a mistake here. Anyway, it doesn't have to be a perfect video. I can still watch my own tutorial now. Here we go. Did something wrong. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, but that's good. So we have this guy here. And subdivision and simple deform. Simple deform again. This one like so. And now we're gonna squeeze that guy like so. And here we go. So this is so far how I'm doing it. I think the other version was better. I had a better transition here in the video tutorial, but the end is also important. So yeah, I think if I go until the end, then this is more pointy. But on top of that, after this is the whole thing is done, I can actually apply this one here. Then also apply the scale here. And now I could do even proportional editing on top of everything. Maybe I also had this on anyways and something. So I could maybe make this even just this one. Even more pointy. Also the length of the whole thing, I could have just make it longer and then shorten it again. So many ways to do that, and also there are many approaches to do a similar thing. This is the good thing about Blender. And here's a glitch going on. That's why I maybe cut off at the beginning of this part too much vertices. I shouldn't. I went too far, I think, with this one here. But basically, that's the thing. That's good. I've learned that. And then I have also something which now, for the people who are still watching, you know, you can see a preview of an environment which looks cool. It's a lazy environment, don't get me wrong, there's nothing special about this, except the water is special. What you're gonna see if this thing will load. Oh, come on. I think a Blender is just overwhelmed now. No. Well, I'll try to click Blender. No. Didn't have to do it. Blender did this voluntarily. Just crashed voluntarily. That's good. Floor. Here we go again. And let's see. So basically, here this is the scene I had a little bit earlier. Basically what I created is just you know, this is just lazy stuff. I just wanted to see some weird cables / pipes very quickly, so I just used the same mesh and just, you know, created quickly a messy thing. But what is cool about the scene is actually the water. I spent some time creating the water here because it'll, you know, it's a simple animation if you want, but it uses different shading techniques. And I made it so that I limited the blood on the left and right, so it will not appear on the left and right. So always some patches just floating around, and that helps a bit. I was thinking initially that I would like to maybe use an water simulation. This is not a simulation. This is just a shader. This is just a 2D plane. So, and a water simulation would be interesting because I don't do those things very often. But this already looked so good that I maybe not even need that. Maybe some other techniques. So just imagine this would be the overlay with this guy, maybe, you know. I just put this one in because I was curious how he would look like, and there is actually a fun fact. Look at this. Isn't that cool? Isn't that crazy? It's just playing around with some ideas. This guy I will finish at some point. This one is not finished yet. He is still like a messy, like in a sculpting mode. I will finish this one about the whole scene, what you see right now, including this, the Bioshock guy. That could be still something I never touch again. That just happens. Right now I'm allowing myself to go distracted. You would think, looking at maybe when you, well, no one is watching that, but if somebody would watch, you would probably get the idea that I'm being all the time distracted, which is true to a certain degree. But I'm also capable of focusing on when I set my mind to one project, focusing on a project and actually finishing it. So I've finished multiple animations already on Project Lara. Best work so far, from quality wise, is Black Raven, which no one has seen yet. This is just, I understand why, but that's the best work and the most effort, and created everything myself with an, I would say, quality wise, it's kind of in the middle. It's not worse, it's not bad, but it's also, it could be improved. But if you do everything yourself, you cannot, you know, you have to sacrifice here and there some quality steps. But I made everything work, so check it out. It's called Black Raven. It's a car assembled by Qt Robots. Definitely worth checking out because it's cool. Again, made everything myself, and including the music and sound effects and so on. Some friends sent me over WhatsApp some videos, which I converted the videos to MP3 or WAV and used some sound effects. I even asked my dentist if I could record the hydraulic noise of the dentist chair, which was the dentist. She wasn't a dentist. She was the cleaning lady who, you know, when you go to a professional cleaning, for your teeth, you know. And she said, yeah, okay, we tried. Unfortunately, quality-wise was not good enough. Eventually I used the video of a friend of mine from Andy. He sent me a video from his 3D printer, and I used all those sounds for the robots. So it's actually really, really cool. Anyway, so if this, let's say I would, you know, because I'm distracted, could happen that I'm not really doing that. But you can see that video as a first idea. What's definitely usable is the water. That's for sure. That's the only thing which I'm certain about, that I will use the water. If I would do like an overlay, let's say I would play the game BioShock, right? Then the opening before the gameplay would just be the camera like flying here through the scene. This guy wouldn't be there, I think, and then the gameplay starts, you know, kind of like when I turn on, where is it? Where's my horror thing here? Not this, not that. Where's my horror? Yeah, kind of like that. This is shorter, that's why I want to use it. You know, only that the game would start. I also found out this in combination with this is kind of working for some reason. Those both things together. Anyway, this is the game engine, render engine. I can show you how this would look like with the. There are two engines in when you use Blender. One you can see it as, one is the game engine, and the other one is the engine for movies because it's more realistic. This is the simplest way I can think of to how to describe those both engines. Otherwise, I played something around with a new shader here on the sides. It's not really worth mentioning it. This is not really special in any regards, or it's cool. It's kind of, you know, from a beginner point, yeah, that would be great. But you know, I can do better than that. But for the first idea, that's you know, that already works pretty well. And again, I like the water a lot, and you can see that this engine is already. This is why I'm usually not using the engine. It's much slower. However, with the new GPU I'm using right now, I can now actually use that. Before I couldn't even do that. That would have been too much because ray tracing and so on, which is not being used in here. But overall, this graphics card is just stronger. Yeah, I can be in cycles and doing some things which takes a lot of oh, I also thought this could also be funny. This is just keeping the volumetric light, but those things just hiding. It's also, I thought this is also cool looking. And then if I duplicate the water a bit, I don't know what it is right now. I cannot see where the water is. I have to place it a little bit below. So that looks also kind of good. Actually, that looks better in the other engine, which makes sense because, you know, I also see this can also work, right? And now let's go near the. Yeah, then I could actually do some music, but music is the only thing. I'm using here Linux still. Music is the only thing which really annoys me because I do not know where to get some. I have to really spend time in checking out Linux plugins. Like I have a MIDI keyboard. I keep using still Mixcraft under Linux because I just want to play. I don't want to, you know. So if you have any good ideas where I could get some good piano sounds, for example, for as a VTX, as a plugin or whatever Linux is using, in combination with Reaper or Adore. So I already know Adore exists. I know Reaper is technically running natively on Linux as well, but with Reaper as an audio is a program which anyway plugins I need and I don't like I mean, I have nothing against buying plugins. I just don't like buying plugins which you have to activate with online connection. That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I did this once. I bought once in Humble Bundle. It's my first Humble Bundle I ever regret buying, because I bought some instrument plugins, and it was so annoying because they shifted, they shipped with some software which pre-installed some demos, which that would be fine, but they were all activated somehow, and I had to all go through them and trying to deactivate them, because they only allow you to use them for certain days, and then you have to look through which plugin do I actually own, which plugin do I not own, because I want to use the plugins. I they were all as a bundle together, so nasty made that I was screaming at the computer. I was so disappointed about that. So I know I don't want to do that. I don't want to have any plugins where I have to activate them online. No, fuck that. I don't want to have that. They stick it in your ass. Stuff like this is so tedious. I mean, no. I hope this is, Anyway, okay, that's what I do right now. I thought this is cool. This is one of the cooler things. Not every what I do is kind of interesting. Some are more boring. Not for me. I like everything. I like the talking part. But this is a random format. I wanted to talk actually about something which I found was Speech Note, but now I babbled enough about the Blender stuff. Anyway, yeah, I have to think about. By the way, this environment you saw, I also have an environment tested where I built an environment for Black Raven. I used a different technique. The simplest thing, what you just saw, I can show you that maybe quickly. That's just so simple. That's why I went with that. It's basically just using an array modifier. I heard good things though about the next Blender version. Which would maybe combining modifiers with the geometry node. That might be good because the geometry nodes are cool, but I don't know, there's something not intuitive enough yet that you can just play around with. I mean, or maybe it's also me to a certain degree, because in order to play around with geometry nodes, you have to spend time with them. Then when you start to understand, you start to play around with some ideas. But still, I find everything else in Blender much more intuitive, from shaders, plugging in things. Yeah, I hope they're getting more intuitive for people like me. That would be great. So I'm interested about what they're gonna do. Anyway, so what we could do is just to make it more interesting, even just for fun. I'm gonna set this to 3, and then I'm gonna duplicate this guy, and then turning on this one here. And now I'm gonna make this guy. So that's good. And let's see this one here. How could I do that? There was a way that I did this before. Ah, that's interesting. Do they share the same? Like so. Ah, yeah. The thing is simple. So this guy has to every one. That's fine. And no, 2. Wait, I get confused. There's a way to do it. I've done that before. I just don't remember right now how I did this. This also happens once in a while. So maybe they have to be in the same position. Maybe like so. I think so. Or maybe do I not think so? Oh boy, how did I do that the last time? No, I think this works. I think maybe I just need another one here. Yeah, like that. This kind of works in a weird way. there is a way with even modifiers to break with the array modifiers to break the pattern, even with the standard stuff, without using geometry node. Because again, I've done that before. I just used the different technique. If I just would remember, maybe. Okay, let's slow down a bit. Let me check that again. So this one is fine. But if I just, I mean, I could do it like so, and then like so. That could work. Maybe that's how I've done that before. Because now we have basically different objects, which is cool. But I think I used it for what's the word? Gelände. I don't remember the word. You know, when you go down, when you go up the stairs, you sometimes you can grab onto the thing, which I don't know the name of right now. Gelände. No, it's gone. It's not there. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Good, whatever. I'm just gonna show you then the other thing quickly. Why not? If you wanna, that would be an easy way of. Or actually, yeah, we don't need array. We can just do that manually, old school, like so. And this second one would be so. Why not? And then we use this guy here again. And this way we can we can also make them more interesting by just already like so. Bevel, weight pay, and maybe like so. Not just one. One is enough. That would be good. 0.5. Here we go. And they can share that together. Copy modifiers. Ah, there is no bevel here. No. Now we can. Maybe, you know, I think it's even easier doing that in the edit mode. Yeah, that makes more sense. Now we have this guy here. It would be like a Lego way of then combining that, and then maybe also I think it should be bigger in general. I think double the size from here on. Just increase that. Let's say double it, because if you go inside, yeah, it should feel like a big place. Zip. Like so. Bum, bum. And it doesn't have to be symmetrical. That makes it also more interesting. But how can we maybe go here? Can we limit the Z? No. Unfortunately not. Then let's use this guy here. -3 meter. -3. And then there is a technique I haven't used in so long, which is also cool actually. Let's see if I remember how I was using them. I think I have to set this. It's based on this one here. 90 degree, and we only want to have 6 of those guys. Great. But the bevel here would be a problem later. This one too. Maybe vertices, limiting them on the vertices might be better. Yeah, let's use that, and at the same time, yeah, we had some doubles. And others move. And here we go. What you need is, when you work, is something which I haven't really done. I gotta admit that a bit. Is something like different levels, not just flat levels, makes the whole thing more interesting. But I haven't really done much environment building. Only my although environment building, yes, but not really you know, like some only that, or I don't know how to describe that right now. Like nothing worth mentioning. Let's put it that way. Yeah, that makes sense actually. I could show you the Black Raven thing, but you should check this out by yourself. Go to Project Laravel, check it out today at least. Okay, let's go here inside. And we have a little bit of an environment. We could do that to make it actually rounder, but I think I found it better using inside walls, making them separate, because although I could do that. Now if I use that, makes the thing unnecessary. More. Yeah. Problem is, if you use a system like that, this you have to adjust. This is, first of all, this is destructive. Yeah, what I was thinking. Oh, this is sure. I think everybody starts that at some point. There is somewhere some save files where I had a facility made so that I can just stick them all together. You know, I thought this is an interesting idea. It is an interesting idea, but I do not know. You know, what is better to have like a Lego connection system, if you want, where everything you can just stick together, or what a thing I've actually never done is thinking first about what I'm gonna build and then building that, making a blueprint first. So let's say I want to have a facility, then I should really maybe just you know, put that on an how does it look actually in here? We have nothing. We have no lights. Well, no anything here. Do we have lights? Here's a light. Also, this is, I think my night light is getting on, so it looks a little bit yellowish. Yes, ray tracing always helps. And yep. Cool thing is, I can show you one of my most interesting shaders. Not this one. I'm calling it in the German Schichtenmaterial. I made that for Black Raven, a bunch of them, and I was happy. Bam! You see that? This is just one material. I just plugged that in, and it gives automatically. It's limited, and at some point it changes the texture based on positioning. You can see that here, right? And if I change my object, you see the texture stays. It's the, see? And I think this is one of the coolest things I've ever done. I tweaked the shit out of that to get it where I wanted it. Yeah. And it's actually probably worth making a video about this. But the problem is, like I tweaked and tweaked and tweaked, and somehow I made it happen. But I cannot explain it very well. I can show it. I was thinking again, this could be also another reason for a website. To just, you know, give some of the things to people, because I know some of the things might be kind of cool and can be also optimized by other people. You know, that's something I'm not good for, because it's not my strength, and also I mean, this is one of the simpler ones here. It's not my strength, and also I'm very easily distracted, you know. And here it is. I'm gonna turn off the yellowish stuff here a bit. This is the like disable, turn off for now. Yeah. So now this is the real look. I like the yellowish stuff actually. And only disadvantage is those things are procedural generated. We can take a look at this. It's gonna be crazy, I promise you that. Here we go. Oh, this one actually, I tried here to organize it even a bit. That's usually not the case. But basically this is not connected. This is for one position. I think this is for limiting position for the console stuff on the walls and stuff like this, or maybe this one. And then most of them are position based here. Some of them, yeah, see? You don't have to use position, you can also use the object itself, but positioning made sense to me. And because it's procedure generated, eventually it's gonna be better to bake that eventually as a texture on your systems. But I think this is too technical anyways for this channel here. And also, while the shader stuff is cool, it's always cooler to have actually some objects, some details in. That's what I've realized is, yeah, that's all cool and fine, but it's cooler when you just add some. Let's say we're gonna use the wall here, and just duplicate that and separate that and make a little solidify thing here, like so. And then we're gonna use bevel maybe, but this time a normal bevel. And up, like so. Or we could actually use a different bevel, like so, and then duplicate that guy again and make it so. And now it's already a little bit more interesting. Now we're gonna just take something out, and here we have something interesting. What it is, I don't know, but it's different. We don't need this one we don't need either. So now we have a white wall. What is it doing? I don't know. It's good for something. Boop. Let's make this here the green area, or the blue one. Yeah. Bluish, but just simple white is not cool enough. We need something. Let's add mapping. There is some add-on or something you can turn on to get those things. I'm just adding quickly. I've never bothered to look for that. Would probably saved me some time by now, but whatever. Texture, this one here, and generated is fine. We're gonna use object. And we don't have anything. Where would that be? Here we go. And so this on its, oh, where am I? So let's use smooth as well. No random. let's move. Bigger. No, white was okay. Yeah, that's good. It gives more interesting details. Now where is the, yeah. And then I'm gonna use one of this. I should not, you know, always do my, I already have an interesting one. Maybe works. Special material, no, sci-fi. No, this is very old stuff, but some of the work still. Muslimism, math, it's math, yeah. This guy could work. No, it works on a ball, that I know. With those things, maybe it works still, but no. Let's get the ball here. I'm gonna show just this guy here. So I was looking for, or I found a video, somebody showed how to make leaves with math nodes, which I eventually didn't do. I got distracted and I figured this thing out and I kept it. And then I think that was the case, that maybe it was different. And stuff like this is helpful. Every time I find something really cool, I just save it. So every time I figure out something which is interesting to me, I use it and save it, and then I have some interesting cool, unique, no, this should actually work, but maybe it's the wrong position. Yeah, the thing is, the consoles actually, they work like, basically they are based on this system a bit. I made it so that I limited some of the consoles appear randomly a little bit, you would think so, but they appear where they should appear. And then I limited it in the shader to only show emission in the console area. And you know, I could not explain that. I just tweaked that. I tweaked. I can show you. And at some point, I got what I wanted. I think it must be here somewhere. Let's check it out. This is how I orientate myself. If I change something and something happens, that's good. Maybe this one here. Yeah, you can see this is affecting only the console. So somehow with those guys, I made that happen. A question is, let me see. This is just a position based. That should be all the console thing. Let me just test that out quickly. Curious. So now it's all console. To simplify it, now we can take a look at this, just in case you want to know how this is being done. You can do it yourself. I'm showing you in big, just in case you want to see that. So I used here positioning, but it would also work without. Positioning is not needed. You can just use it, generate it. Important is that you limit a surface, and I also forget how I did that. So Spachtel effect. This is. I started out with that, but then I changed the idea. So emission, we should take a look. I know it's a little bit hard to bring this all together. So I'm thinking if I show it like that, are you able to pick that up? I see, that's why I don't want to show it, because it's kind of hard showing that in detail. You have to organize, you have to squeeze it, then you have to talk about this. And it's even harder if I've done that by tweaking it. So in order to make a tutorial for that, I would need to reconstruct it until to this point, that I do that so often that I exactly know what I do. Which definitely would help me, but it would just take time away from the other ideas I have. So a guy like me is good for ideas because I like to play around with things, but I would need someone else who, now you can see it in full, right? Okay, let's, this one you cannot see so well. Yeah. Yeah, see, I used here only the Voronoi Leo, whatever this is called, texture to make this happen, and it's pretty awesome. It's so, let me orientate here what happens when I, yeah. You can also use math instead of, you know, the color ramp is great for artist people's minds because math is too abstract. However, technically this is also math, you know. The black value has a value. See, this is all numbers. And so when you swap those areas, it's also just doing you know. So everything can be done with math as well. With math nodes, I mean. So, but yeah, I think this might be the main thing. This is the main thing. This just creates a bunch of consoles. Actually, just only, it doesn't even create a, no, it just creates those effects. Where is it? This guy here. Just how many do I want, you know? And I can manipulate the shape of it. Make something different also. This looks also cool, right? But again, while it's cool to use shaders, 3D objects, don't underestimate the power, I think, or I say this to myself. I should keep that in mind. So this goes into the bump and also into this, and then this one is basically, so how does this work now? I use the same thing. What is this doing? Does this already have an effect on it? No, this is just the Spachtel effect. I see. So that's why this is for the Spachtel effect is a German word for the wall. That's how I would call that, Spachtel effect. I used to be. I mean, I never finished the Ausbildung, but when I was very young, I worked as a painter in a construction workplace, and for that reason, I still remember some of the words. But so here is the thing happening. So this is going into this area here. And how do I cut this off actually? Yeah. So basically, if I turn this on, it should completely over. Yeah. So you making it so that it appears only in the area. I think I used here colors mostly. Yeah, wherever is a black area. Somehow I managed to. You can see I struggle with the explanation. There is a way for me to do it, to explain it better, by simplifying it even more, doing it again simpler and simpler, and then going slowly but surely more complex. I think that happens anyways at some point. So basically, yeah, that's how I should approach that, to simplify the console and before I do connect this to the other things, for example. But I think I showed it in between. You should be able, if you are a pro, and if you're not like me, like a distracted mind, more focused like, then you know already how this is achievable, and you can do it yourself. And I already like that one here, but it's too robotic. It looks like it's a place for robots, not for other things. Anyway, yeah, I think that's it for today. So it feels like a game. I like the speed, how fast this is. This is right now faster because I turned off the other thing here. Also with the graphics card. When I did those things, oh man, I wish I would have had the newer GPU already. That was kind of hard to do. Yeah. I don't like that. white. Doesn't have to be fancy all the time. Sometimes just a simple white is also pretty cool. With a little bit of here. Yeah. Oh, we could use that there. I wonder how this looks as a browser. Yeah, wooden. Yeah, I have some wood stuff. Oh, I don't think this will. It's super stretched. Yeah, it's not meant for this. I need to unwrap everything, I think, but even then it shouldn't be too good. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. No, I wanna use something else for the metal rust. Here we go, this guy, and we switch to the other game engine. And now I have to switch it to GPU quickly. Denoising, and now we have some more realistic stuff. Denoising here. This material is cool, but it really needs to be used in I like that one, but we need that different. Maybe this one here. One thing I've never done that, I mean, you can see they must have done that in Doom, I think, and bake or they do this generally in games is you know, baking all the shadow baking on the whole environment onto everything. I wonder how this has been done, to be honest. Like I have an abstract idea how they do that, but I don't really know for sure. Okay, our corners are already more interesting. Looks cooler in here, right? This is, but it also has to do because of you can achieve a similar look, but this material is just not made. This isn't really it's just made for the other, you know, for the other engine. I have different metal stuff here, but it's none of those things are so impressive, I think. Although we can use the other one I just created with the helmet. I'm gonna bring the helmet in. Bioshock helmet. This guy, you cannot see what I'm doing right now, I'm just bringing it in. Don't save it, and I bring it into here. Set object selection to cursor. Because I just want to grab the material. This is how you can copy and paste material into Blender. So I think this is object based. Doesn't work with that, I think. Huh? What did I use here? No, UV. Why do I have UV here? No, now it works. It's a bit better. Something like that. Although I think I can try. I have some. Yeah, this could work a little bit. It uses a technique to make it work in this engine here, and then switch shader. I already prepared here something. I see, I just did all similar. I think this is the best. Yeah, I mean it's not for the engine here. Maybe in combination with this one here. That one. Not this full. And this one. Yeah, maybe something like that. Not so perfect, but it gives the idea a bit. Maybe if I use some bump on top of that. Let's combine those guys. And simplify. This one. Now I get some details. This might be useful for the helmet as well. Not too much. Maybe also. Do I have it still here? No. Well, I don't even know how to write that word on here. This one here. Let's use that. And smooth. Yeah, makes it more interesting, right? Oh, that's fun. I like that, playing around with those ideas here. Here we go. Then another helpful thing is always limiting, let's see, geometry, then color ramp, or maybe just this one here. Separate, this one goes into here, this one goes into there, this one so, this one so, and now let's see, where are we? Mapping, we forgot. Mapping is going to be in here, I think. No, I think in here. This one goes into here. So let's see. And you can see absolutely nothing. Because it's not set. Here we go. And you can still see absolutely nothing. That shouldn't be the case at all. Positioning. Maybe it belongs into here. Am I wrong about this? Hey, that's confusing. Wait. Oh, I'm very confused. That shouldn't happen. Oh, I see. I see. Maybe because this is not quite... Okay, well, it's fixable. We can do something about this. Math. And now we say multiply it. Oh boy. Let me just do that. Color ramp. That's good. Something happens. I'm doing the same thing again. I'm an idiot. Here we go. Okay, that is very helpful if you want to simulate a shadow. on the ground. Also right now it even works for the ground itself. That's also basically the idea of, you know, when you remember the console, this is the same technique behind that. It just doesn't work like that. I wonder why wouldn't it work like that? It should also work. It's so confusing right now. Why wouldn't this work? Color, why not mix? Oh, that was weird. Yeah, that's the reason. I see. No, because we don't need a color ramp. Yeah, we don't need a color ramp, see? It's helpful, I like the color ramp, but it was very weird. Okay, now we can do that. And what we can do now, we can combine this one here with the other one, actually. You know what, let's use the whole thing, copy, and use it for here, paste, and let's put this over there. Let me just think this goes into bump for now. Here we go, yeah, that's good. And then this one goes into let's say this is the wall. Yeah. Here we go. And now it looks interesting. You see the ground is cold. This is not too bad actually. We are in the cheese fabric. Here is cheese for you, my friend. Yeah. And how does it look in the pretty one? Oh, not much of a difference here. Not so much this time. I really like the game engines more. Maybe just because I'm generally coming more from games. Doesn't matter in Blender. Some people who focus on the realistic stuff only, and they get so good at certain tasks. So it's I think best thing is it doesn't matter how good you are. You are always better when you work in a team. Sure, I like to do my own stuff because I'm a weird character. I even play World of Warcraft. I like the idea of playing with people, but I don't want to be invited. I just want to be alone. But I wouldn't mind when also playing, doing something with people together, because you can do better things. You can, do much better work together and focus and exchanging ideas, and you can go over some problems together, that's just so much better. This guy on its own doesn't look like Bioshock at all. That's good, which is good, because it shouldn't be only Bioshock. When I play Bioshock, then I want to use the Bioshock guy, but otherwise, yeah. No, I didn't meant to build here an environment, but I like this stuff. Maybe I should keep that as a Schicht material somewhere. But now organizing those things is then hard again. So we have this thing now. So what else does a thing need here? Yeah, there's no door, right? I have some doors. I created some cool doors actually. Like some, not just doors, what they are called. Also sometimes inserting things and then making this one a little bit bigger, right? It's also cool. And what did I say about, that's important. Something I don't do. I think it's because it's a bit difficult. How would I go about that? How would I go about going to the next level? Let's say here I want to go up, right? Like so. Let's just make sure that this is a proper up-going way. The question, I never really thought about this much, because I usually don't need that. Maybe not so steep. let's say like this, like this. So how could I, and I need here maybe a light source, nonsense, light area here, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I think about games. You don't know that. I mean, again, the thing is, what bothers me a bit is that no one watches that, you know. While it's okay most of the time, but once in a while I want to just communicate some things. And, you know, so I hope at some point somebody will watch those things. And is also interested in some of those things. So that's my hope. But if not, at least I can do English practice, and I have an outlet, because no one, who am I talking about those things anyways, you know? There is no one interested in those things. So don't get me wrong, friends and so on, they respect that, and they some of the good work they like, sure. But you know, every little detail, you cannot share that, right? So anyway, how would I go about this one here? Maybe if I limit that. I see I have a very little problem here going on. Or maybe not even. What if I just let me think. So we are here, What if I do just this one here, duplicate, and then separate, and I just make this a normal I mean, I've done that before, certainly, but I don't remember it. I don't remember how I would have done that. I remember something about bevel. I can try bevel again, but a different one. Bevel. Bevel. Here we go. And then I'm gonna say this one only. Profile percentages. Here we go. And let's check this out. Here we're gonna get something like that, but not really what I wanted. You see what I'm going for, right? Why wouldn't that work? Okay, if this doesn't work, let's reset that here. Let's go and try. Where is it? Where is this thing? Angle? No, this is not what I wanted. Sharp edge, arc. Where's the thing? Is this gone? I'm so confused. I'm looking here for an here, customer. And steps. So, okay, let's see. Bevel again. Wait. Okay, we have some steps. But I don't see it working. Oh, maybe it works, I don't know. Here we go. Yeah, that is one option of handling that, but I don't find that. Well, I'll just move. Here we go. So we have some steps for the next. Oh no, it actually works totally fine. Games do not handle that like that, I believe so. So what usually happens when you go up the stairs, the camera is not shaking like that. I think they just you see the steps in games most of the time, but you go up you go up and down a ramp so that the transition is smooth, because this looks good on paper, but I think that would be annoying. Imagine you play, I hope not, but imagine you play Call of Duty and you know, that would make you crazy. I think so. I don't know. I'm not a game designer. Yeah. There's something about this which is confusing to me. I remember this last time too. There's always if you want to increase the steps, I forgot how to do that. So I think applying them, you have to apply them, yeah. Let's say you want to have only 5, yeah, then you have to apply. Okay, that means 100% is good, so 100% means until the end. Or maybe not even. And then let's say we want to have only like, I don't know, 12 steps. We have to apply them, and here we go. Yeah, that's cool. Only the color is not, it's too cute. Why is this not changing? That's weird. What is happening? No, changes in here, but not in there. Is this a different color? No. So let's make this so. Actually, yellow was kind of good. But no, it's too dark. Ray tracing is so good. In environments like here, ray tracing is really cool. In nature, it's not needed most of the time. But when it comes to light, bending and so on, especially with those shaders, yeah, it's pretty good. And yeah, then we would need more of those things where just more interesting stuff in the world. So a little bit here, insert a little bit there, maybe this one like so. Too claustrophobic. That's better. And that's gonna be quite tough to make changes to that. Let's do it like so. It looks a little bit broken here because we screwed around with this guy here. Same thing over here. Still a little bit weird, but this has to do with the the shader is not, this is not an optimized shader for the edges, but there's also something wrong with the bevel for sure. Yeah, here's really something off. Whoop. I see. So when we do stuff like this, we should also either we don't do that, or if we're gonna fix that. So let's say, what could we do? Could we do that? Again, this is doable, but it's also destructive in this way. But destructive is, it's also not being too afraid of destructing things. You know, there's also that when you discover that you can do so many things with mods, modifications. What is this called? Modifiers. You try to do almost. I try to do almost everything non-destructive, but then you kind of, you know, limiting yourself also a bit. I think this one could be cool, like just so. And then this one, and this one can be. Just white. Well. Ah, looks interesting. The sad thing is all for nothing, because I think it's better to really do something with actually when it's white we should maybe add really some more light here. Makes more sense, yeah. Same thing here. Oh, we can just use that one here. This is the problem with emission in the game engine, with ray tracing. When you go away, you know, it doesn't. It's not realistic anymore. This one here would be how light would be realistic. You could go further away, go clean, you know. But in this one, you have to cheat them a bit. And to save performance, you could limit those guys to a certain length, limit distance, and let's just say 1 meter first, and then go, say, just this area here. And that would be fine, and you can even increase this just here. So now you have, it will save your performance because you don't need any, the light will not be calculated further than that, so that's gonna be good. And what else? It doesn't count for this one, but you can actually use this light has the name area 4, and this one is area 3. If I say area 4 here too, they are now identical. Yeah, that's just my game, what I like to play right now. Building my own little world where I can escape not being bothered by other people, except some few exceptions, of course. You know, I mean, people, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I like them and they annoy me. I don't want to be bothered by people, but I also like them. That's how it works. My neck hurts. I'm getting old. That sucks. It's also cool. I like it, actually. I like getting old and starting complaining about things. I'm looking very much forward to that. I'm gonna be so happy, like, everything hurts. I mean, that's okay. That's a good thing. This is the good getting old. What scares me is my eyes. That's the scary part. But whatever. Everybody has his scary things, right? In this world. So, but okay, I think I should go before I go to abstract. Anyway, so I think today was pretty interesting, and if you're lucky, you have seen something. And if you want to see something unique and cool, again, check out Project Lara, Black Raven. You really should, just to see something different. You know, it's not the best in the world, but it's, you know, I designed a car. If this is not worth watching it, then I do not know. Anyway. Good, that's it. Bye bye, auf Wiedersehen.